6 rooms in the ledger. 5 doors on the wall. Don't ask me which one's lying. That's what my dad said in the truck 10 minutes before we pulled into the foreclosed motel he'd been hired to clear out. I was 14. He'd been doing bank repo jobs for 20 years, and he'd finally decided I was old enough to ride along. On the ring in his hand were 17 keys, sorted by room and taped to a laminated tag. 17. But there was one more key he kept in his shirt pocket, on a ring by itself, wrapped in black electrical tape so the brass couldn't touch the others. I asked him why. He didn't look at me. He said, "Because if it touches the others, they start to fit too." He had one rule for me on the job. Whatever door he unlocked, I stood behind him, and I did not look past his shoulder. He said it twice, so I'd remember. I counted the rooms from the parking lot when we pulled in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in a straight line under the same tin roof. My dad walked past all 5, stopped at a blank stretch of wall between 4 and 5, and took the taped key out of his pocket. If stories like this keep you up at night, subscribe. Now, back to that motel. The wall was cinder block. I want to say that plainly, because I stood 3 feet behind him and I could see the mortar lines, the paint chalking at the seams, a wasp's nest half built in the eave right above where a door should have been. There was no door. There was no frame. There was no threshold. My dad slid the brass key into the wall, and the wall accepted it. The sound was wrong. Not because it was loud, it wasn't, but because a lock that big turning in cinderblock should not make a lock sound. It made the exact sound a hotel deadbolt makes when it slides home in a hollow wooden door, and the moment I heard it, the wall in front of him wasn't a wall anymore. It was a door, a scarred green door with the number 6 on a tin plate, and above the plate a peephole with a fingerprint of grease on the glass that I could see from where I stood. My dad did not go in. That was the second thing I learned. He set a canvas bag down on the concrete walkway, unzipped it, and took out 3 things. A brass key on a paper tag. A single sheet torn cleanly from the motel's guest ledger, that day's page, that day's date. And a small black transistor radio, the kind with a leather strap, that he'd bought at a yard sale 2 towns over and had never once turned on. He set all 3 inside the doorway on the floor, without stepping in. He did not touch anything past the threshold. He did not look up. Then he closed the door, turned the key, pocketed it. And the door was a cinderblock wall again, with the wasp's nest in the eave, and the paint chalking at the seams, and no sign that a lock had ever turned in it. He walked to the truck without a word, and I followed him because I did not trust my legs to do anything else. On the drive home he told me, in the same voice he used to explain how to change a tire, what room 6 actually was. The motel had been built in 1978. But the plot it sat on had held a motel before that one, a smaller place, same footprint, torn down after a fire in the 50s, rebuilt from the slab up. And the plot had held something before that, too, and something before that, going back further than the county records went. Every version of the building had a room 6 that outlived it. "Room 6 isn't a room in this motel," he said. "It's a room in the first motel. The one we built on top of. The door only opens from the side you're standing on if you have the key and you know the wall it belongs to. What's inside is 1978, October, the week the place opened. It has not moved from that week in 41 years. I asked him what was in it. He said, "A front desk. A ledger. A brass bell. And whoever is behind the desk when you knock." I asked him what he was delivering. He said, "A room key it's already had for 41 years. And a page from today's guest book. And a radio, so it can hear this year without having to look at it." And then he told me the rule. The rule was not for me. The rule was for him. Nothing crosses the threshold twice. You put the delivery down, you close the door, and whatever you brought in, stays. Whatever's in there stays. If you carry anything back out, even by accident, the room starts trying to make the year outside match the year inside. Slowly. Not all at once. But it starts. He'd been doing that delivery, at that motel, 4 times a year, for 20 years. 80 deliveries. Not one thing had ever come back out. And the bank kept paying him to clear out a property they never actually intended to demolish, because whoever knew what Room 6 was had made very sure the paperwork stayed frozen in foreclosure, indefinitely. He was the caretaker. The bank was the cover. The 81st delivery was in January. I was 17 by then, home from my first semester of college, and I asked to come. He almost said no. He said yes because his hands had started shaking in the cold, and he wanted a second pair of eyes. It was maybe 8 degrees out. The wind coming across the parking lot had teeth. My dad knelt at the blank wall, and I could see his fingers were half numb, pink at the tips, white at the knuckles, and when he pulled the delivery slip out of the canvas bag, he needed to sign the date on it before he set it inside the threshold. That was part of the ritual. Sign, then set it down. The pen chained to the front desk in Room 6 was the pen he was supposed to reach in and use. Reach across the threshold, sign, pull his hand back. He'd done it 80 times. He did not do it that night. His fingers wouldn't have closed on the pen. So he took the pen out of his own shirt pocket, a black bic with the name of his company printed down the side of it, signed the slip, set it inside the doorway with the key and the ledger page and the transistor radio, and closed the door. He was 2 steps back toward the truck when he stopped, and I watched his face go the color of the cinder block. His pen was not in his hand. He'd set it down inside, with his name on it, from a year the room was not supposed to know existed. He didn't reopen the door. He couldn't. The rule was, nothing crosses the threshold twice. Reopening the door to take the pen back would count as a second crossing, and the room would notice that too. He got in the truck. He drove home. He did not sleep. For a while, nothing happened. A week, then 2. He started to relax. Then, one morning in early February, the newspaper on our porch had the wrong date printed on the masthead, off by 1 day, dated the day before. My mom said the printer had made a mistake. The next day it was right again. He didn't say anything, but I saw him look at it a long time. Then it was a receipt from the grocery store, dated a month behind. Then a check my dad wrote to the electric company that the bank cashed against an account he'd closed in 1994. Small things. Paper things. Always slightly older than they should have been. As if the year around him was very quietly trying to slip backward, 1 page at a time, to reach the year inside Room 6 and shake hands with it. He made the 82nd delivery alone. And the 83rd. He would not tell me what he put in the bag on those runs. Only that. She's asking for interest now, on account of the pen. He aged, in that last year, the way a man ages when he's carrying 2 lives on his back and one of them is heavier. He died the following spring. Not at the motel. In his own bed, of an ordinary heart, at 58, which is a young age for that heart, and everyone said so. The tape key was in the drawer of his nightstand when we cleaned out the house. I put it in my pocket without thinking, and I have carried it every day since. I did not go back to the motel for a long time. I told myself the deliveries would find someone else. I told myself the bank would send another man. I told myself a lot of things. What finally sent me back was the county archive. I was researching my dad's obituary, trying to find a photograph of him from the year he started the job, and the archivist brought out a bound run of local hotel guest ledgers, donated to the county in the 80s. Original paper. October 1978. The motel's opening week. I turned the pages slowly. Room 1, Room 2, Room 3, Room 4, Room 5. Ordinary names. Ordinary handwriting. Room 6, October 12, 1978. 1 line, signed in ballpoint pen. The signature was mine. My full name, in my adult hand, the way I sign it now, a way I did not learn to sign it until I was 31. And under the signature, in the vehicle column, was the license plate of the truck I currently drive. A truck manufactured in 2019. written into a ledger in 1978. In my handwriting. I sat with that a long time. Longer than I'd sat with anything in my life. And what I understood, sitting there, is that my dad's pen wasn't the first thing that had crossed backward through that door. It was just the first thing he noticed. The room had been reaching for our family for a lot longer than one winter night. It had my name on file before I was born. It had been waiting for the delivery that would be me. I have not gone to the motel yet. I have the taped key. I know which stretch of wall it belongs to. And I know, the way my dad knew, that eventually the year I'm standing in will slip one page too far, and the wall will already have a door in it when I get there, and I will be walking up to it from the wrong side. Someone will be behind the front desk, holding a black Bic pen with my father's company name on it, and a guest ledger open to October 12, 1978. And they will look at my face, and at the name already on the page, and they will smile the small polite smile of a desk clerk who has been expecting you all week. If this one got under your skin, subscribe. There's a new story every week. And if you're ever walking past a motel with a stretch of blank wall between rooms 4 and 5, and you feel a draft coming off the cinder block that shouldn't be there, don't stop. Don't count the rooms. And whatever you do, don't reach into your pocket to see if you're carrying a key you don't remember picking up.